Notions of joy, beauty, values, aspirations, myth, and spirituality. She is founder president of NRITYAAKSHAR and artistic director of the NRITYAAKSHAR dance company, known for the high aesthetic quality of its group presentations. Geeta was awarded the prestigious national award, the Padma Shri, by the President of India in 2007. She is also recipient of the Central Sangeet Natak Academy Award for Bharatanatyam in 2016. In her effort to endance the universe, as she says, Geeta engages in a strategic range of dance-related activities, performing, teaching, conducting, singing, collaborating, organizing, writing, and speaking to new youth audiences. It's a pleasure, as I said, to perform here and take you on a journey as to how dance, classical dance, uses literature, both traditional works and contemporary works. And that's our effort today to share with you. But we begin with a surprise. As you know, Bharatanatyam normally begins with a prayer, but this evening, because we don't have the musicians, this being an interactive session, Geeta is going to sing a very powerful hymn written by Sanskrit scholar V. Raghavan in the mid-60s. It was blessed by the Kanchipuram Shankaracharya for Bharat Ratna Srimati M.S. Subbalakshmi to sing at the United Nations. So it was a song created for M.S. Amma to sing at the UN. And the words are beautiful. It talks about harmony, of coming together, and it talks of respecting the earth and leading sustainable lives. A thought from the 60s that today we realize is so valid and contemporary. So, Maitrim Bhajatam, please welcome Geeta Chandran.
Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Atmavadevam para Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Jananim prithvim kamadudhaste. Jananim prithvim kamadudhaste. Janako devah sakala dayalo. Janako devah sakala dayalo. Damyata dayatvam janata. Damyata dayatvam janata. Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam. Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam. Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Maitrim bhajatam akhila grajatrim. Atmavadevam paranapi pashata. Atmavadevam paranapi क्रमणं त्यजत परेश्वर क्रममाक्रमणं मैत्रीं भजत सकलनेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत मैत्रीं भजत मैत्रीं भजत.
Thank you, Geeta. That was, of course, also a prayer because, as we all know, South Asia, the region that we all belong to, unfortunately also has a peace deficit. And I think that through efforts like this, we are stitching afresh the fabric of South Asia through human connections and through interpersonal linkages, quite different from the way governments talk or don't talk to each other. The first piece that Geeta will present in her dance this evening works on the concepts of text and context, moving from the classical to the contemporary, weaving the past with the present, all interesting juxtapositions that show us the complexity of human reality. And what Geeta has taken as a metaphor is really the status of women. We in South Asia are very proud that in the past, our classical culture celebrated women as the goddess. I mean, she was the all-powerful. She was music, she was dance, she was rhythm, she was prayer. She's the earth, she's mother, friend, consort, sister. The Devi is seen in all these aspects. And yet, the reality today of South Asia is that the status of women leaves a lot to be desired. And we all know, in all our countries, right from conception to cremation or burial, women face a deficit. And so, in this interesting juxtaposition this evening, Geeta starts with a traditional prayer to the goddess, usually performed when cell phones are silent, and thank you, and brings about the classical context in which we have celebrated the feminine force. And then,
welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on...
Thank you. This is not a voiceover, this is my voice. Thank you. This is then followed by a very powerful poem written by Lakshmi Kannan, Unquiet Waters, which was first published in the Contemporary Review of Surrey, England. I'm not explaining the poem because it's in English and you can follow it, but it talks about the spirit of women being trapped in vessels of various shapes and sizes. A very powerful image that Lakshmi provides as a counter or a contra to the Devi prayer. So, Amba Shambhavi, a prayer to the goddess, followed by Unquiet Waters. Please welcome Geeta. Unquiet Waters by Lakshmi Kannan. I take the shape of the receptacle that holds me. I take the contours of the earthen pitcher, tall, squat, or lean. I take the form of the bottle or the glass on the table. I even take on the colors of the utensils in which I dwell. I am the waters that you can see through. I am the liquid that is almost not there. I am the one in receptacles of various kinds. My shape, not my own. If you can but break the pitcher and set me free. If you can just break the pitcher, I would flow into the stream gurgling. I would flow into the stream gurgling. I'll catch the sun in a jeweled glitter. I'll run over the smooth rocks swiftly to join my mother, the river, till we melt together into the ocean of our being. Till we melt together into the ocean of our being. The ocean of our being. You know, one thing about this auditorium, acoustically it's made for people here to be heard. So if you clap, it has to be really loud for us to hear you back, okay? It's just an acoustic problem. The responsibility of artists to break stereotypes is really a serious responsibility. And I think the artists of South Asia are trying to do that all the time. And that's where the strength and hope lies. That voice, that freedom to smash stereotypes is still with us. In this next piece, Geeta just does that. Taken from tradition, but it looks at a classical text differently. The text is the Ramayana, a pan-Asian story that is understood and has traveled through ASEAN, through South Asia, celebrated in Europe as the epic tale of the victory of good over evil. And in that entire epic story, there is a villain, Ravana, who has abducted Rama's wife, Sita. And traditionally, he represents the bad, the evil, whom the gods have to subdue. The problem is that when you actually go back to the original text, in this case the Valmiki Ramayana in Sanskrit, you discover so many interesting shades of character that burst your stereotype. Ravan, the king of Lanka, the powerful, glorious, whatever, was a man who had fallen in love with a beautiful woman. And Valmiki says that beautifully So in the scene that Geeta is now going to create for you, Ravana, of course, gets ready in all his pomp and glory and sets off to Ashokavana, where he's holding Sita captive. And as he enters, he's struck by her beauty. And the words are so beautiful. He says, Valmiki says that every part of Sita's bewitching beauty trapped his eyes. And then the poet asks, if he could not handle a part of Sita, however could he imagine of ever handling the whole? A very beautiful context that brings alive a different dimension of the villain, Ravan. So, Ravana from Valmiki Ramayana.
चारुदती चारुनेत्रे विलासिनी चारुस्मिते चारुदती चारुनेत्रे विलासिनी चारुस्मिते चारुदती चारुनेत्रे विलासिनी चारुस्मिते चारुदती चारुनेत्रे विलासिनी चारुस्मिते चारुदती चारुनेत्रे विलासिनी मनोहरसि मे मनोहरसि मे वीरु सुपर्ण मनोहरसि मे वीरु सुपर्ण मनोहरसि मे वीरु सुपर्ण मनोहरसि मे वीरु सुपर्ण पश्यामि ते शीतांशु तस्मै विदुषो निचक्षु निबध्यते 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 पश्यामि ते शीतांशु 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 सदृशानने शीतांशु सदृशानने शीतांशु सदृशानने शीतांशु सदृशानने
You know, just looking at Geeta, revisit this piece, and look at the context today when we have the Me Too campaign. Valmiki understood that when a woman says no, it's a no. And Ravan, for all his power, respects that. He wants her to say yes. It's a very, contemporary thought that the Valmiki Ramayana has for all of us today. So just linking, like I said, the text and context is such an exciting part of finding literature and finding nuggets in literature. There is this huge argument of what is old, what is new, what is contemporary, what is there. And we thought that we'll showcase this with a poem on broken relationships. Amazingly written at the end of the 6th century in Sanskrit, a text called Amaru Shatakam that deals with different aspects of human relations, and this is about broken relationships. I'm going to read from an English translation by Pritish Nandi that Pritish wrote in 1994 when he translated the Sanskrit text. Just to place it in context, the Nayika, or the heroine, is on the terrace, drying clothes, just a mundane morning, when she encounters a bit of her past walking down the street. I will say no more. Amaru Shatakam. Look, there he goes like anyone else. There he goes like anyone else. Passion's white heat has fled. Respect has quietly wandered away, and we are no longer even friends. Look, there he goes like anyone else. There he goes like anyone else. Those were the days, my friend. Those were the days, my friend, and we thought they would never end. Those were the days, my friend. Those were the days, my friend, and we thought they would never end. Never end. Now I wonder why this fragile heart does not splinter into a million shards. Look. There he goes like anyone else. He goes like anyone else. Once upon a time, you would agree that I was you and you were me. I have no idea what has happened since. Now you are you. And I. And I am me. Century, talking about broken relationships, of healing, getting along, moving on, reclaiming one's life. What is old, what is new?
Very modern, very modern.
It's contemporary, isn't it? It's stunningly that. So it brings you to assess our silo approach to history. You know, we like to say something is ancient, something is new, something is then, something is now. But let us think afresh. The next set of ideas, and this is just the last but one piece. I know you've had a long day, so it's going to be a short presentation. Is that the Sanatan, which is the way of life of Hinduism, has incredible freedom built into it. The freedom so much so that we can also make fun of our gods. And there is a whole tradition of Ninda Stuti, where you find fault with your gods and fight with them. So the whole tradition of Ninda Stuti is a literary tradition within the Sanatan religious tradition of, celebrating deities. So just as a beautiful example of Ninda Stuti, Gita brings alive a verse from Vidyapati called the Kalidas of Maithili. Maithili is a regional language from the Bihar region. Also showcases the fact that creativity is not limited to any one language in India or South Asia, that voices in multiple tongues say different things, and we have to find space for each one of those voices and make them heard. That's why this conference that Ajit organizes every year is such a valuable conference. So what does Vidyapati say? Vidyapati's heroine Radha, as you all know, is the consort of Krishna. But one afternoon, Cupid starts showering her with arrows. And so Radha turns around and says, "Hey Cupid, mistaken identity. I am not Shiva." In the myth, Cupid went and showered his arrows on Shiva. And she says, "Don't you see, I'm so different from Shiva. Look at that ugly man. Ash on his body, and look at my sandal paste covered body. He wearing wild skins, and me in beautiful silks. He with matted hair, and here, look at my beautifully done hair. My bindi, his ugly third eye. My lovely flowers, jasmine on my hair, and the river Ganga erupting from his head." Making fun of every motive in the Shiva iconography, Kalidas celebrates the beauty of Radha and says, "But no fault of yours, Cupid. I think I understand. Both Shiva and I share a single name. He is Bam, I am Bama." So he says, "Perhaps, Cupid, you have been caught in the trap of mistaken identity, but leave me alone. Go and find your Shiva and torment him." A beautiful Ninda Stuti in Maithili that Gita will next present. Katana Bedana.
देसी मदना कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना मदना विभूति भूषण नाहि चनन करेनु विभूति भूषण नाहि चनन करेनु विभूति भूषण विभूति भूषण विभूति भूषण विभूति भूषण नारी चरण विभूति भूषण नारी चरण करेनु विभूति भूषण नारी चरण करेनु बात चांद नहीं मोरने गगन बस बात चांद नहीं मोरने गगन बस कतना वेदन मोहि देसी मदना करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन करनरी कर मोहि जुगती जन कतना वेदन मोहि देसी नामोर जटा भर चिगुर गंगेनी नामोर जटा भर चिगुर गंगेनी सुर सरी नहीं मोरा कुसुम तरसे सुर सरी नहीं मोरा कुसुम तरसे चांद का बिंदु मोरा नहीं इंदु छोड़ा चांद का बिंदु मोरा नहीं इंदु छोड़ा
the global awakening of literature from South Asia probably came alive when Rabindranath Tagore was honored with the Nobel Prize for Literature. A beginning point from which so many streams of literature have come alive in South Asia. We conclude with a prayer by Tagore, a translation in Telugu, Bhuvaneshwara. It celebrates Tagore's deep belief in a non-denominational superpower who every human being and bit of nature can access equally. He talks about that prayer that yearns for the soul to be led from darkness to light. Bhuvaneshwara.
Bhuvaneshwara,
Ajit Kaur said, come and say something to this conference. So we have obeyed Madam Ajit Kaur this evening, Hannah. Geeta, can you just go and do it?
Thank you, Mr. Singh. दूर